Debonair. Okay.
What's good, y'all? Shout out to Notification Gang for hitting the like button. And the building didn't start yet. Y'all the realest ones in it. I appreciate you anyway. I have been trained to never believe a woman's story in a marriage. This is a marriage counselor, y'all. Educated, certified marriage counselor, psychiatrist or psychologist, whatever they call each other nowadays. I don't know the proper terms that they use, terminology, I should say, that they use. But shout out to her, Kane Jadick, Kane J A TikTok. Okay, shout out to her. Y'all go over there on TikTok and shout her out. Let's get into it, y'all, because I have so much to say. I already know. I haven't seen this video yet, but I already know in my head where I'm going to go with this, just based off of this caption alone. Just based off that alone. Let's get into it, y'all.
I have been trained, very strongly trained by my mentor, to never believe a woman's story in her marriage. I cannot tell you the amount of times that I have gotten sucked into a woman's story because we are so convincing. We are so manipulative. We know how to dramatize and exaggerate the circumstances and experiences in the marriage to suck someone in, to feel sorry for us, to validate us in our victim story, and have even really no awareness to question that story from a woman and try to understand, well, what would the husband say, or what's his experience, so what's his side of the story. And we bring that into therapy. So like I said, I can't tell you how many times over 10 years that I got sucked into a woman's story, and my mentor had to help me break through my cognitive dissonance and get back to the fundamental truth that I know. I've gotten so much better. It's very rare that happens now, but it can still happen because we are so convincing. It's just like, it would almost be blasphemy to not believe some of the things a woman says. And, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That's terrible. Maybe he's not a good man. We are so convincing. And I've also had the pleasure over the years where I've worked with a woman. She has a strong story of her husband and how he can be aggressive or controlling and a narcissist. And she paints this story. And then I've had the pleasure to actually meet her husband, because she's tried to, we always want our husbands to change. So it's interesting. Women will convince their husbands to take my men's course, which is interesting because of what I teach men in that course, which is about all our woman ways and how men have to take their power back. But I've met these husbands, and I meet them, and it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she has the story of this man, because they're the typical good man, just loves their wife, is caring, is confused about how they're always wrong and can't be right. And when I meet the husband, it doesn't add up at all with the woman's story of him. So therapists are not trained to break through the stories of a woman. And because they're already biased, they already have that gender bias to believe and take on the perceptions of the woman and have that prejudice towards men, they get sucked in. And here's the thing, is that the very same tactics we use as women in a marriage to manipulate our husbands and brainwash them to believe they are the problem are the same manipulative tactics that we use to draw a therapist into our story and get the therapist on our side. We're using the same tactics, and then the therapist gets brainwashed into believing the man is the problem.
And why did I let this play out for so long? Because y'all know me. Usually I just, you know what I'm saying? But why did I let it play out for 3 minutes and 28 seconds? So I don't want to hear nobody in the comment section getting mad. But why did I let this play out for so long? Because fellas, ladies too, obviously, but fellas, I really need y'all boys to pay attention. This is the type of nonsense and BS that's been going on, and this isn't just something that's been happening to women as they become adults. Honestly, it starts as a child. I've seen on playgrounds little girls throw sand or rocks at a boy, and then the little boy, in retaliation, throws rocks or sands back, and then she runs and starts crying. And the teacher's like, "Why did you throw sand?" And well, she threw it at him first. Why are you not saying anything to her? It's that type of coddling that happens. And yes, they're a child, so it's a bad example. I understand that, but still, it starts as a child. Imagine that, her growing up to years thinking that she's going to get away with doing things and frame it as the man being the bad one. What did she say? Yo, I had to hear this story of her man, of this woman's husband. And when she finally got to meet him, finally got to know him, he was a nice, sweet damn guy who loved his goddamn wife. These are the types of stories that women will give you. That's why I tell y'all boys all the time, stop believing them stupid ass stories coming from women. Oh, he was narcissistic, he was abusive, he was this, that, and the third. I have never met so many women that told me all of their exes were narcissistic, abusive, controlling, manipulative, all these things. I'm thinking to myself, God damn. So you got 4 ex-boyfriends, all of them were narcissistic? I mean, wow. The chance of that happening is slim to none. They use these type of terminologies and these types of words just to sit there and bait you in, to make it seem like that they themselves are the victim. And that's one of the main reasons why one of my favorite questions to ask women is, so you are a complete angel the entirety of your relationship. You never did anything wrong. You never did anything to egg him on or to irritate him. You never did anything of retaliation. No, I've never done anything. There's a certain thing, not really a thing, but there's a certain way that women want you to view them, which is the main reason why I tell y'all boys, there's no reason to ask, there's a reason why you need to be asking these women how many sexual partners they had. Have they ever had a train ran on them before? Have they ever had a threesome? All them stupid ass damn questions. How many dudes you slept with? When was the last time you had sex? All them questions need to be thrown away. Get those questions out of your mind, fellas. Get those questions out of your mind, because they will almost always never tell you the truth. Yeah, you might have 1, 2 that's in like the less than 3% of women that will actually be real with you, but the likelihood of her being real with you is slim to none. They're not going to tell you that. Why? Because in their mind, their value in the dating world is, first of all, tied to them, their character, their body count, who they are. All of those is the reasons why. That's why I tell y'all boys all the time, women will always lie about who they were in their past relationship, their past marriage, their high school, college level. Fellas, I'm telling y'all boys right now, the amount of women that I grew up with, right, back when we were younger in high school, right, the amount of chicks that we were running trains on, to see them now married with children nowadays, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, bro, I feel it in my spirit. I have to contact this girl's husband and let him know. But I'm like, yo, you know what? I'm not going to do it because I don't know nobody like that. I don't know nobody like that. The chicks that we was having fun with in college, same damn thing. Seeing them getting married. I just saw one girl. I ain't gonna go into too much details, but I just saw one girl damn post her marriage. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, yo, we used to run through her on campus, bro. This man's declaring his love for this damn woman. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, God damn. She's going to go, that same woman, she's going to go to this therapist, this psychiatrist, whatever you want to call it, and paint a crazy ass narrative about you being controlling, vindictive, manipulative, abusive, either physically or verbally, narcissistic. What did she just say? Yo, as we are trained to always believe the woman. Why is that? Let's keep going, y'all.
I've had several female clients over the years who very quickly trusted me because I didn't buy into their stories, and I called them out on it. I have one client in particular, I will never forget my first conversation with her. She reached out to me. She had this big story about her husband. He never pays me any attention. He doesn't validate me. He doesn't even compliment me ever. He never even says I love you. And she had this whole story, but she was also sharing, but I know I have these behaviors and this is how I show up. And this is a very high-powered woman with a very successful business. And she gets done telling her story. And I knew I had to be totally direct with her to gain her trust, to gain her respect. And I told her point blank, the problem is your husband is terrified of you because you are such, pardon my language, because you are such a bitch.
Yeah.
And I didn't mean it mean, and I didn't mean it judgmentally. I was just telling it to her straight, and also knowing the own experience of myself as a woman and the women that I had worked with. And her jaw dropped open and I didn't know what was going to come out next. But she just looked at me and she said, "Thank you. You're 100% correct." She said, "I've never, ever had a therapist ever be direct with me and has always let me manipulate them. You're the first person who's called me out."
I want to let that simmer. I want to let I want to let that digest. The reason why your husband fears you, terrified of you, is because you are such a bitch. Fellas, y'all know good and goddamn well, we as men, we can't say these types of things towards a woman. Whether we right or wrong. We know for a fact we can't say those types of terms to a woman, let alone a black woman, but to a woman. Even when the word fits them and describes them so perfectly, just like she said. Yo, she's a therapist, a psychologist. She got years of education, years of experience in this field. She's just like, yo, listen, I'm gonna just cut straight to the point. Ma'am, you are a bitch. Fellas, we know we Verdo, y'all know we can't say that. How many men is in relationships with a woman like that, a bitch? How many men is married to a woman like that, a bitch? And can't do nothing about it, let alone can afford this woman's time, because I'm pretty sure she's probably taxing. She's probably charging about $50 an hour. But how many? Countless. Hell, I was one of them in several occasions. What did she describe at the beginning of this video? She was like, yo, like he's a great guy. He works every day. He goes to school. He does this. He takes care of his family. He loves his mom, his mother. I mean, he loves his woman. He loves the kids. That's not good enough in a lot of cases. A lot of women look at you like, well, I should be taking trips around the world. I should be riding around on yachts. I should be catching flights to Dubai, spending 2 weeks in Dubai. Y'all remember, if I remember at the top, I did a video about damn near 4 years ago of a woman who a dude got her a birthday trip, and it was an envelope, and like it was a crazy video. In the envelope, it was a DNA test confirming that he was not the father to her child that he was messing with. I'm sorry, he was messing with her and she was cheating, and come find out it wasn't his child. But she was opening the envelope and had the nerve to say, "Oh, this better be a trip to Dubai for 2 weeks." What the hell? Do you know how much a flight is to Dubai? We're talking thousands of dollars, let alone both of us, let alone first class, let alone check luggage. Now add the hotel. Dubai is expensive. We talking about, for an average hotel in Dubai, we talking about $300-400 per night. And you talking about some 2 weeks? And I got to get breakfast, lunch, and dinner? And you know when she get there, she'll want to be shopping. Have you lost your goddamn mind? But it's not good enough for a lot of them. Let's we almost done it. Let me hear in this.
So we have to be called out, women, and we have to see what's really going on. And if they're a couples counselor isn't going to do that. because they're already trained to believe our story.
Shout out to Kane J or Kanasia. I don't know. Shout out to her. Y'all know I usually don't promote people TikToks, but nah, this was one of them ones. This was definitely one of them ones, man. Definitely one of them ones. Excellent video, excellent explanation. To say the least. But I mean, yes. And to all the women that's watching this, these are the nonsense and the BS that we constantly have to deal with being in relationships with you, ladies. This is the stuff that we have to damn deal with. The lies, the deflection, the BS, the cap, the whatever it is y'all want to goddamn call this. It needs to stop. Like now. It needs to stop. The fact that a therapist has to come and say this, it speaks volumes to how toxic that young lady really was. Because if the husband can't tell you, ma'am, I don't know what's going on, a stranger, and it's not even like the woman is living, the therapist is living with that woman day in and day out, 24/7. She was just with her a couple hours a day, probably one session. Let's just say she has a 2-hour session, probably a 1-hour session every other week, and she was able to come up with that within those hours of being around you. So that speaks volumes to how toxic she really and truly is. And that's the thing that scares me the most. I don't know, man. Maybe I'll think differently. I want y'all to comment down below. Let me know what y'all thought about this video, man. Thanks for watching. Please, if you haven't, hit that subscribe button, man. Also, too, that bell symbol size, anytime we upload, notification will pop up and alert you. Also, too, make sure you hit that like, make sure you hit that share. I look forward to reading all your comments, if any. So, until next time, please, man, stay for